So I found an article on Fandom Wire where Neil Druckmann talks about how Abby in the show is going to be different from Abby in the game. Let's talk about it. The article's title is Neil Druckmann confirms what The Last of Us Season 2 will skip from the game. Abby was meant to play more like Joel. The Last of Us Season 2 will portray Abby differently with Kaitlyn Dever as the character. Neil Druckmann also confirms less action, more drama. The wait for The Last of Us Season 2 is almost over, and fans are buzzing with excitement and maybe just a tiny bit of controversy. Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, the masterminds behind HBO's smash hit, are back with more gut-wrenching storytelling. But this time, they're switching things up in a big way. Well, they kind of switched up Season 1 a lot, too. Less action, more drama, less brute force, more emotional depth, and of course, a brand new Abby played by Kaitlyn Dever. Some fans are already scratching their heads about the casting choice. I don't know. I think she's a pretty good actress, and I think she'll do a good job. After all, the video games Abby was known for her muscular build and powerhouse strength. But the showrunners have a vision, and they're sticking with it. So what's changing? What's staying the same? And how does this new Abby fit into the world of The Last of Us? If you're expecting HBO's Abby to be a carbon copy of the video game, think again. In the game, Abby was physically imposed. Yeah, she was. It says she was built for battle and plays more like Joel, a brute force tank who can tear through enemies. She was. Well, I think when you first see Abby, she's not. And I think she kind of made herself into this weapon to get revenge, kind of fueled by hatred. But according to Druckmann, that's not the focus this time around. The show is dealing with the action and dialing down the action, if I can speak, and turning up the drama, which means Abby doesn't need to be all muscle and brawn. In this interview with Entertainment Weekly, he said, "We would have struggled to find someone as good as Kaitlyn to play this role. In the game, you have to play both characters, and we need them to play differently. We needed Ellie to feel smaller and kind of maneuver around. And Abby was meant to play more like Joel in that she's almost like a brute in the way that she can physically manhandle certain things. That doesn't play as big a role in this version in the story because there's not as much violent action moment to moment. It's more about the drama. I'm not saying there's not action here. It's just, again, different priorities and how you approach it." Kaitlyn Dever seems to be the perfect fit for this version of Abby as she brings a fresh take to the character. No intense gym regimen, no bulking up, just raw emotion and incredible acting. Yes, she's amazing. So where does her toughness come from? That's something we'll be exploring throughout the season. Of course, some fans are already voicing concerns, because they do. People complain about everything. But the showrunners are confident in their choice, just like Bella Ramsey's casting as Ellie. Caused a stir at first. Yeah, I wasn't sold on Bella Ramsey, but within I don't know, early in the first episode, because she just sold it for me. But there's one thing we know about The Last of Us, that it's always delivers on emotional depth, character complexity, and thought-provoking themes. The story. Now don't panic, there's still going to be intense moments since this is The Last of Us after all. But don't expect a non-stop barrage of shootouts and melee combat. Instead, the series focuses on more complicated relationships, moral dilemmas, and emotional struggles that made the first season so compelling. Druckmann explains that unlike the game where you actively play as both Ellie and Abby in combat-heavy sections, the show doesn't have to stick to that formula. Instead, it prioritizes character-driven storytelling, and that means we'll see a version of Abby that's just as formidable, but in a completely different way. In the interview, he said, "Kaitlyn has the spirit of the game in her. What I always loved about the idea was that you're going to continually be challenged as you were in Season 1. When you try to pick a hero, it's tough because we're human beings. We're not heroes. For every heroic act, there's someone who suffers on the other side, who may see you reasonably as a villain. When you look at Kaitlyn, there's something in her eyes, even though no matter what she's experiencing, you connect. It was important that we found somebody that we could connect to in the way that we connect to Bella." I agree. Because really, if you had followed Abby's story from the beginning, Joel would have been the villain. It's all how you look at it. And let's not forget the emotional gut punches this show is known for. Season 1 gave us unforgettable moments. Joel's decision, Ellie's heartbreaking loss, and Bill and Frank's tear-jerking love story. Season 2 promises even more of these moments that will make the series so special. So gear up, The Last of Us fans. Things are about to get really interesting. Yeah. And we don't have much longer to go. April is almost here. I will link the Fandom Wire article in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. Guys, that's really all I have for you in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do all the YouTube stuff like share, subscribe, comment, and I will see you wonderful people in the next video.